Welcome back to the Forge of Champions. We are potentially one game away from closing out our first scoring tournament. DIABOLUS have absolutely swept Wind and Rain to the side so far. It hasn't really looked too close, especially from that second game. We've been talking a lot about what Wind and Rain can do better going forward. I think they've put heavy priority on Lucian. Hasn't really had the kind of the lane dominance we'd want Fax to have with it. They haven't really had the opportunity to pair it with something like a Braum. I want to know, in very simple terms, is there something they can alter in draft here? Because this is what we're going to go into in a minute. We're going to be going into picks and bans in just a few seconds. Is there something that you would like to see change from Wind and Rain in draft? Because it doesn't really feel like they're winning on any fronts right now.
Yeah, I feel like you should pick a better late game sort of win condition. Or at least mid game. It feels like these mid to late game team fights are where they're losing out on it. Considering how badly Misfits did in the early game against DIABOLUS, Wind and Rain are doing fine. They're doing okay. They're sort of managing, and I think you can sort of invest a bit more into the later stage of the game. Draft something for Crossman that isn't just I want to win lane and that's the only way I'm going to be super relevant. Maybe something that does a bit more, because we saw when the Riot came online, it was so strong. And then, I mean, I guess drafting something where Curve is a bit safe. I do believe they are back on red side now.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they're in a position where they can get a safer matchup for Kerberos. He's going to be able to potentially scale and split push, and then just pick a composition that works better, functions better, and is a bit safer in the mid game.
I mean, yesterday we saw Darius locked into Kerberos. It's a classic Kerberos pick. He plays it so well.
It's so risky to blind pick it though, which is why you often see it come on second rotation.
Red side now that we potentially have that a chance.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been banned
it's
away.
been banned, yeah.
That's the issue. You're definitely spot on. I wonder how DIABOLUS start changing their bans as well. I mean, so far they're winning, so there's the argument that you don't have to do much.
I think you stick with the Zilean and the Zara. It's obviously been causing issues for Akatsuni in the bot lane. He really has not looked comfortable in both games that I've seen him play so far. So that's a really good set of bans. I think you keep that. I don't think you need to change that at all. Yep. I think you probably keep something like the
Zoe ban.
The Zoe ban is fine, because I think despite not a great Zoe score, he did have a good game on Zoe overall, especially from the laning phase. But as Orc said, is that a drawback or is that a positive for a Crossman right now? So we'll look at it in swings and roundabout style, I think.
I think DIABOLUS just need to keep playing the game they are and not get overconfident, because the series isn't over. Yes, they're one game away, but I mean, people have lost series from this point. Last Premiership split that I played in, I managed to reverse sweep, and it was actually against Kerberos, so I think he can speak a bit about that. But I think the main thing is, in this game 3, you know what's been working, you know how to play it out.
UK champion, by the way.
UK champion, by the way. You know, you have Wind and Rain's numbers, just don't do anything spicy or crazy. I think the main thing is that, like, Flaxius has been playing these tanks so well, they haven't needed him on carries. Yes, you could come out and put him on something to flex on Kerberos, but do you need to? Probably not. And I think the more important thing is just securing this third game, and then you can go home, get a nice, I don't know, I think Flaxius likes chips with Nutella on. I think DIABOLUS was...
What?
Yeah. DIABOLUS was tweeting this out. Chips with Nutella on. So he can go enjoy that.
Disgrace.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with
you're
that.
A disgrace.
I want to see Nolty step up as well. He hasn't really had as much of an impact so far, like we saw in their series against M&M.
I think just stick him on Skarner.
I think, yeah, that's a big thing to talk about this last game in terms of draft. LeBlanc works fine, but you need a jungler that can pressure with it. Like what we said, you know, if you come in and just throw a pillar down, it's not going to do much. If you had something like the Skarner, I really think they could have punished that Ryze more, and it would led to have more things happen in that game. Instead, he kind of just got ignored for a big part. And yes, he did have good pillars, but that's about it.
So, we're going to be going into picks and bans right about now, and Wind and Rain are on the red side. DIABOLUS confirmed 2-0 up, just in case we somehow got it wrong, which obviously is not going to be the case.
Whoa, never get things wrong.
Zyra's going to stay there as a ban. I imagine it's going to be followed up by the Zilean.
Yeah, it seems likely. If he ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ethos that we run with here. Nocturne has also been featuring on the bans, especially against NG, quite a lot, coming from Wind and Rain's side, especially on that red side as well. Wondering if Wind and Rain need to change too much up. The Dr. Mundo, I think, is a clever ban.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess they tunnel visioned a bit too hard on the Lucian, and they didn't feel the need to ban Mundo on blue side last game, but they understand it absolutely is a threat, and no matter how great your late game win condition is, it's so hard when there's a Mundo who just doesn't care.
There's not many champions now that crit AD carries and stuff are out of the meta that actually deal with Mundo,
I think the only AD carry I think that can really deal with him is Kai'Sa, and I feel like you lose too much of your early pressure if you go for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Aurelion Sol. Final ban, that's specifically, we say, at Zeph, even though Crossman probably has the opportunity to counter it.
Rakan is open here, and that's what we saw them going for game 1. So, unsurprising, DIABOLUS, it worked game 1, it's working against here, they pick up the Rakan. Question is, will Wind and Rain do the same as they did then and go for the Lucian in return?
I feel like you just want to go Braum. Like, I don't know if Akatsune's just not comfortable on it, but I feel like, like we said, you don't need to pick Braum here, but why wouldn't you pick Braum in this situation? Because it allows you to be a bit more flexible with that third pick, and it just depends whether Akatsune's comfortable on it or not. I think that's probably the major question that we have to ask, and Wind and Rain are asking in draft, whether we want to pick Braum with Lucian, but is Akatsune just going to int on it? Like,
yeah, I think the thing with the Morgana is it's a lot safer in that matchup. I guess we'll see in 1 second. And actually seen the Jax come out from Naughty Jungle, so it does have a bit more ganking pressure. I mean, it could go top as well. It could go top.
That's the benefit of having Kerberos.
I mean, Naughty's played it multiple times so far, so I would anticipate that the Jax does go towards the jungle. But like you mentioned, I mean, this is the thing. When they play Jax, they play Camille on the top side. So potentially that's a game plan for Wind and Rain.
But I think that's the thing you can't. It's like you have this third pick for Wind and Rain. There's no, if you know that you're not going to go for the Braum because you're not too sold on it, you can pick something else and then leave the picks later. They've ended up picking up the Talia, and I actually think this is such a great pick from DIABOLUS here because you don't know if it's going to go mid or jungle. And so there now is a prospect where Crossman can think, do I want to counter pick the Talia mid? I don't know if you can, and they're actually going to invest in, potentially, if they lock it in, the Fiddlestick support, which gives a bit of disengage from the Zyrakan. The Fear is very useful, and also if someone like, if they end up going for a Camille on the side of DIABOLUS, it has very good disengage against these bruisers in this meta. Plays
to Akatsune's playstyle in the bot lane as well. He really likes those ranged mage-style supports. So maybe we'll see him feel a bit more comfortable there. Very quick the ban on the one. I'm just worried that
it makes sense to ban the LeBlanc though, because I was thinking that could be something Crossman picked up there because it means you can punish to Thalia, because we saw that whether it's in mid or jungle you can put pressure on it.
Yes.
But I think the big fear was if you pick your mid laner then you're going to have to ban away any mid laners. You can't focus Flaxius, and he has been such a problem in these games, so I understand them wanting to put some bans into him.
Flaxius smurfing UK scene. It's going to be a ban of Rise, so I guess they are assuming that it's going to be Talia jungle for NG.
He hasn't played it yet, but you would assume
most junglers will have Talia in their kit.
It has been nerfed a bit, and I could understand them just keeping it as a flex for now, but I think the prospect of them taking Rise mid is it's a bit too much of an issue. And we saw how much of a problem it was in the late game, and especially when you have a Xayah as well, could be a problem. Something we haven't seen come out massively yet in the UK scene is the Galio. Saw a lot in Rift Rivals over in the eastern region, so that's something potentially DIABOLUS could bring out as a good pick for Zeph, but I guess we'll see. I'm speculating a bit too much.
I mean, he's picked it already in Forge of Champions, so if
it could come out again.
If it was going to come out, you would expect that if anyone's going to play, it would be Zeph.
I don't think you're going to need a huge amount of damage if you're running with a Jax jungle. That's a very upfront Camille pick coming out from Kerberos here.
Every time they play Jax, they play Camille on the top side.
That is the Camille-Jax combo.
The reason it works really well, though, not only is it a good combo, in some absurd situation where you think, wow, this matchup's awful for Camille, you could flip the Jax and the Camille. Does seem likely we will see a top, and that's why we saw him waiting and banning away this Ornn, and the Mundo's not there, so potential for this Camille to scale up into the late game. Seeing NG pick up the Sejuani, good pick for him, I feel, and it does mean that Talia will be in the mid lane, and this means Crossman's going to know what he's up against, so he knows he can go for a counter pick.
Yeah, so it looks like they were really wanting to give Crossman the best opportunity here to play in the I think they must have known that from the LeBlanc ban coming through. I think that's something that generally does really well into Talia anyway, so they must have thought, well, okay, this probably is going to be a mid lane Talia. However, they picking the top. Actually, no. If they had known it, they wouldn't have picked their top lane there, and that's a very Flaxish pick, by the way. Renekton coming through has a pretty decent laning phase versus Camille early on as well.
Yeah, it does get outscaled massively, but that isn't really the issue. Actually seen Aatrox be hovered here. I don't want to talk about it.
No, we don't talk about hovers because that would be really odd.
Talking about the Renekton, was a really solid, is a really solid pick early game into the Camille. Has a lot of pressure. The problem is it does get outscaled as well, but can put the damage down early. And in the end, seeing Malzahar, I like this as a pick. You know, Crossman can have a really strong 2v2 with this. And into the late game, it's so hard to deal with. If you're playing Makan, if you're playing Renekton, if you're playing Sejuani, and you get ulted by Malzahar, you will get shredded regardless. And the thing is, there will come a point where Diabolus invests in QSSs and Malzahar's use goes down. But by that point, you're hoping Camille has scaled up to the point where she's relevant in the side lane.
So also you have got, just exactly as you said, Orcs, you've actually got a nice scaling team with some late game scaling options coming through from Wind and Rain here. Gives them a bit more efficacy in later game team fights. My only worry is that they're going up against a lot of CC coming out of Diabolus. If you went into a 5-man team fight with this composition from Wind and Rain, I would be thoroughly scared of each and every single one of them being very weak to hard CC. And there's quite a lot of it coming out from Diabolus. So that lends to the fact is, do we actually think Wind and Rain even team fight here? Do we think they actually want to look for a 1-3-1 style win?
I think the situations in which you want to team fight as Wind and Rain is you find backline access, you get on top of the Talia or the Xayah, and you find a flank. Particularly with the Fiddlesticks, that'd be a great one. On the other side, if Diabolus just go frontline to backline, they will just shred through. They can throw rocks as Talia into the Camilla and Jax. They're not that tanky. They're not as tanky as Renekton or Sejuani. So, frankly, as long as Diabolus' backline is untouched, they will win these team fights. The win conditions for Wind and Rain are flanks and a split push.
And that's where I'm going to reel this back into a talking point that we've had quite a lot about this particular team. They like to find flanks that often relies on dominant vision control, something that we have just not seen that they have had versus Diabolus. Their vision control has been defensive, it has been lackluster around those really important contestation areas like the Dragon and the Baron. If they don't step up their vision control, are they going to have issues executing this composition?
I think absolutely. I mean, I think the term vision game wins games makes sense. And I think that's been a big downfall of the coordination between Wind and Rain. You often move into an area, you secure vision, and then you make the play based on that. And I think Diabolus really understand that. And it shows from the experience of them as players. Wind and Rain, their roster has a few more rookies in them, particularly, you know, Nalty, their jungler, obviously not too experienced, trying to work on synergy with Akitsune. Whereas on the other side, Anthrax and Engie just look so experienced, and their control of the map is the key thing. It's not like Diabolus are just completely outplaying them individually. It's the macro that sets them ahead. Apart from with Flaxius, he's dumped on Kieran.
Okay. So, I mean, let's have a look at this down the line then. And I think we really need to just touch on the overall win conditions of these compositions, because, again, it's nice to know at home where these sort of teams need to be looking. Let's start Wind and Rain Orcs. What do you think? Where do they need to win? Is this a late game scaling, or is it's got other win conditions lined in there?
I think you're going to struggle to get too much of an advantage in the laner phase unless Nalty makes some big plays. I mean, you really need level 6s before you can make plays in the mid and bot. So I think early levels, Diabolus definitely have the advantage. And then when you get to the mid game, if you can get picks with Malzahar, good ults with Fiddle, that's where you win out. If it gets to late, you're going to have to split push with Camille.
And Dalsy, which of these players would you like to see step up, given having seen their performances and sort of knowing what you've seen from the first two games, especially from Wind and Rain, who is it that you want to see step up to the plate and say, right, I need to have a good performance this game?
I want to see Fax and Akitsune win lane. They prioritize Lucian. They've played 9 games so far. They picked Lucian 8 times. Like, that's
Lucian, more like.
I mean,
Lucian. I also like to Lucian.
Lucian, Flackish. I mean, we've got it all here. Lucian and Fiddlesticks. It's obviously the Fiddlesticks is there to try and provide a bit of threat. Also the disengage advantage that comes through the silence as well. But they're against Diabolus' Xayah Rakan. Every game so far they've played it, they have performed excellently on it. They've got kills in the lane. They've managed to stop whatever their opponents are wanting to do. If they're not able to win lane, then it's just going to be a continuous show. It puts Fax in a bad state of mind. Already so far, he's shown that he is, you know, susceptible to being at the wrong place at the wrong time during a game. We need Fax to be ahead, and I think we need to see Nalty start to do that. His Jax performance so far has been fantastic. When I've seen him in the jungle, he's performed really well. Great Counter-Strike ganks, he's really been able to perform on it. But if they're not able to get that head start that they need in the games, then it's just going to be another Diabolus show.
Alright, and then let's reel this back in before we head into game. Diabolus. Play the same game? Just play through top side?
You have strength in lane. You know, Zeth has the push with Talia. Although actually I think the new Talia might struggle a bit, but you have the roam potential once you hit 6. Your bot lane should win from level 1. Your top lane should win from probably a bit after level 1, but still, you have that early pressure. You want to snowball off that and just take over the game, as we've seen them do so many times before, particularly against Misfits. The thing is, what we have seen against Wind and Rain is the early game hasn't gone so smoothly, and I feel like what's been really well done in this draft by Wind and Rain is they've given themselves tools to play around the mid game very easily. It's very easy to play around a Malzahar and a Fiddle in the mid game.
Yep.
You just look for an opportunity for the Fiddle to ult over a wall. You look for a flash ult of the Malzahar. That's all you need. And I think they need that because they've been struggling, and that's why they've been losing out.
And I think if we sort of reflect upon those first 2 games, it actually has been a better contest in the early game for most part compared to what we saw in the game yesterday between Diabolus and Misfits, who kind of got rolled in the laning phase. Do we need to see some more strength coming out of the laning phase here?
I think it's testament to the different styles of teams. Misfits aren't a team who have always won off the back of strong lanes. Maybe a bit more when they had Special in the mid lane, but they are still gelling that, with Kensuke. Whereas, you know, the coordination is a lot worse on Wind and Rain compared to a team who won last split and have really strong shot callers. So I think, honestly, the laning's fine. Yes, they have had some disadvantages. Yes, they could have done a bit more bot and maybe Kerberos not get dumpstered so hard. But I think the main thing is they had chances to win both those previous games if they played the mid game correctly, and they didn't.
And this is the really huge thing for Wind and Rain, is with the likes of the Camille, with the likes of the Malzahar, the Jax, to be able to provide the ganks. They're against a Renekton, they're against a Talia. These are very punishable champions that if Wind and Rain can start to move on in, if they can put Flaxish behind on this Renekton, if they can start causing troubles for Zeph on this Talia, then they'll have the advantage in the mid game, which their comp plays well into. So they've got the tools. They've got literally everything they need. This is a perfect Game 3 comeback story for Wind and Rain. It's just whether they can write it.
The dream.
They dropped the pen there, the little writer. I see what you're doing. That's the little caster. Yeah, made a good little comment.
All right, you're hard. Get it. All right.
I think I agree with you guys. I think Wind and Rain had the opportunity, and it's quite easy to execute. It's something that I always talk about when we look at compositions, especially at this level of game. You know, we're not LCS. I don't think we pretend to be LCS. You know, sometimes
I was LCS when I played.
No,
I was LCS.
You were never LCS.
Yes, I was.
So sometimes it comes down to
SKT hit me up, you know.
Yeah.
I turned them down.
Sorry, Gorilla. Orcs is coming in. Have you heard of this lad from Newcastle? He played a mean Rakan.
Yeah,
and he owes
of a big deal.
£11.
Anyway, I don't even know where I was going now.
You.
Oh, ease of execution. So sometimes it's good to talk about the ease of execution of a composition at this level. Sometimes when you have these really complex win conditions that rely on very certain factors being hit at certain timings, it can be very difficult to put through. You can see with Wind and Rain, you've got click R on Malzahar, and you're going to get a kill somewhere. So hopefully it comes down to ease of execution. It sounds like we are heading onto the Rift very shortly, though, for our third game in this grand final here between Wind and Rain and Diabolus. I'm going to hand over to Dalsy and Orcs. Let's take it away.
Yep.
Game 3. It is, of course, Diabolus versus Wind and Rain. We'll have to see if Wind and Rain have constructed the composition necessary to bounce back into this series. Akasuni on that Fiddlesticks, we see him there. So far, Fiddlesticks hasn't really had much impact throughout the games we've seen in the Forge of Champions so far. Potentially Akasuni can change that stat. You would hope so, for the sake of Wind and Rain.
I'm just looking at Zeph and Crossman. They're so close to each other.
They love each other.
It's almost like they're looking through a window. Oh, no, Zeph's seeing Crossman. He just broke his shield. That doesn't look very friendly.
I mean,
oh, Akasuni's here, yeah.
Silenced!
Yeah. I mean, Fiddle's an annoying champion to lane against, and I feel like one of the difficulties is that if you go too aggressive as Xayah Rakan onto the Fiddle, there's a chance of Fax just turning it around back on you, especially when the fear comes in. But something big talking point I want to look at. Take a look at that keystone on the Xayah. We're seeing Hail of Blades was buffed slightly. I believe it was last patch, or maybe the patch before. Did get stronger, but interesting to see it come out on the Xayah here. And I think it's testament to the sort... I mean, because if you think about it, the quicker you get those first few auto attacks off in Xayah, the quicker you can set up the feathers to pull your root off. Particularly when the builds recently have been going for a rush on that... is it Storm Razor? Yeah, the Storm Razor's rush. It amplifies the burst on a champion who's already going for a bursty build. So, makes a lot of sense to me, but I want to see how it plays out with his keystone that honestly we don't see very often.
Potential fun in the top lane. Flaxish and Kerberos here playing two champions that are going to go at each other. Absolutely. Renekton versus Camille was the top lane matchup that I was excited to see. So far, it looks like Kerberos is winning it, looking to try and get level 2 before his opponent.
Yeah,
that level 2 advantage has been huge across the board, in the top, in the bot as well.
You have to be a bit careful here, as Kerberos suggests he's doing fine level 1, but now Flaxy sits as level 2, and level 3 is really where Renekton just takes over the lane. He can use all of his abilities, stack up his rage, and honestly just probably one-hit you. to be honest. He has so much base damage early on, so have to be a bit careful there. And you can see Kerberos has backed off, giving up a bit of the CS, but Nulty is coming in, has been seen on a ward though. Good respect coming out from Diabolus and particularly Flaxius, so Nulty just going to head towards that Rift Skull.
Yeah, they potentially may look to try and collapse here with the Renekton in position.
It just looks like
in
a
lane.
contest. Might try and smite steal.
Yeah, here it goes.
Oh,
NG
he gets
moves in.
it.
Smite still comes through. Zeph's roaming as well, as is the Renekton. Diabolus moving, and Zeph's on the other side of the wall, so is Flaxish. Nulty's in trouble. Counter-strike to try and survive, but Zeph with one more Q will have it. Oh, the first blood to Flaxish. He wanted it.
That's the worst person for it to go to. I mean, of anyone, Kerberos is probably crying to himself right now. Of all the people to get the kill, the Renekton, not the greatest one. He's going to go back to the lane, but when he recalls, we'll be sitting on a nice, juicy extra 400 gold, so makes a big difference.
Oh,
And
double buffs. It's so sad. Kerberos, here's the Renekton, level 3 as well. Minion wave pushing in onto your tower. Here's that first blood.
Yeah, so it does steal away the Scuttle Crab, but Nulty on lower HP than NG, and you can see the movement already coming in. This is what lane priority does for you. Zeph turns up, flash burnt by Nulty, but at the end of the day, there's no way you're going from there. Zeph, smart move to disengage from the stun, and Flaxius flashes in to finish off the kill. Easy days.
I love that NG at that point was like, I've done my job, lads. You take it away.
Yeah,
Diabolus get first blood here. They get a huge amount of gold in favor, and already the issue Wind and Rain have been facing so far is that winning lane matchups for Diabolus have been so strong for them. Flaxish on this Renekton, you definitely don't want to get him ahead. Kerberos on this Camille may have troubles from now on.
Yeah, I mean, you already see as soon as Flaxius hit that level 3 point, it was going to be difficult for... Oh, we actually see an engaged top side,
yeah,
no
it's
flash.
Gonna be the stun, no flash. Yeah, he flashed for that first blood, and I guess that's a pretty good way to counter that. It's like, okay, you're going to flash first blood, you're going to stun him in. Nah,
yeah, smart decision from Nulty, buff transfer complete, handed them over to Flaxius, and now back onto Kerberos, so he's sitting happy, and I think Flaxius might be regretting that flash a little bit, but either way, good.
They're staying top as well. Potentially, they do some more. Depends on how aggressive Flaxius wants to be here.
I mean, this is a great situation to be in this Camille, because obviously getting extra kills and gold onto Flaxius delays the point at which Kerberos overtakes the matchup.
Wait, NG's coming top and Nulty's roaming away. Oh dear, Kerberos may have overextended just a bit. The hookshot comes through.
He does have flash. He should get out fine. He's fine.
I mean, there's flash and there's Chilling Smite available for NG as well. Chilling Smite doesn't even need it at this point. He fails the flash. In-ting Kerberos.
What was that?
Over to Flaxish.
My eyes! Oh my god! Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Just let's move on. Jesus Christ, it was so hard to look at. Well, that's not how you play League of Legends. For everyone. Jeez. Well, guess Flaxius does have the double buff to get it now. He's sitting on 2 kills. Kerberos fortunately able to pick up the Sheen. Even so, when Flaxius next gets his recall off, we'll be ahead in gold once again, able to pick up some CS as well. But seeing some action coming on the mid lane, Nulty in off the backside though.
Yeah, looking for the counter gank onto NG, but it is going to be Crossman in trouble. Has flash available, laying down the damage onto NG. Nulty in the middle of it all, does not have flash himself. Crossman goes over the wall. He'll come through from Zeph though. Now they're diving Crossman. Zeph gets the kill onto him, and Nulty's under the tower. Not much he can do about it. Zeph in the mid lane, 101. Akazuni, what are you doing? Can he get this kill and survive? No, he can't, because Amphrax is here. And now Amphrax over the wall. Everyone's flashing, everyone's trolling. It's 3-1 to Diabolus.
What are these flashes? Man, they should go in a practice tool and give this a practice, because honestly, they keep missing such easy flashes.
Caster. That was the issue. That's why we weren't allowed practice tool for so much, was because of people like you, Ox, who would flame so hard. Can't flash, go to practice tool.
Regardless,
I won Premiership.
Advantage does go over to Diabolus at the back end. Can't complain too much about that. Bit of a misplay coming out from Nulty and Crossman. Didn't handle the 2v2 well, but I've seen some aggression here from Flaxius.
Yep.
Pops ult already.
Hookshot over the wall. Good stuff from Kerberos. Has teleport. Can potentially go back to base and get healed on up.
It dissuades a lot of the pressure from Flaxius. Obviously, as Renekton, you want to pop your ult as early as possible in the all-ins for that extra damage. But in that situation, didn't manage to find the kill, and now Kerberos has a bit of reprieve in the top lane when he comes back up.
I still can't get over the recalls from Xayah and Rakan.
Yeah, they're so cute together.
They're so cute. I mean, they've been in the game for so long now, but every time I see it, I'm like, aww.
Yep. Bless them. But let's focus a bit more on the game. Level 6 will not even level 6, level 7 reach from Crossman, so it does have this all available. Did actually have it in that previous fight, but not the mana.
Yep.
So interesting to see where he will use this. No flash on him, but also no flash on Zeph, so potential for him to cut down on that Talia.
I mean, Diabolus have invested so much into the UK scene this year for there be inaugural, I guess, showing of Forge of Champions, and so far it's working. They've got their gaming house set up in Manchester. They've been scrimming hard. They've taken down Misfits Academy
here's the
as
replay.
well.
So they go aggressive on Crossman, and you see, well, not even yet, they're just pushing the wave in. Nalty comes in the background, and Crossman just a bit too over-aggressive. NG doesn't even need to use his dash on him, and you see here he dashes away, avoids the stun from Nalty, and then it's just a bit of an overcommit. They don't expect the heal to come out from Zeph, baits Crossman into flashing, and even though he hits level 6, he has no mana, and Zeph can just clean up the kill off the backside. And then, I mean, we don't really want to see the mess that happened afterwards because that was just a bit clowny, but Kerberos getting punished here.
It's going to be everyone in the top side, and it does look like it is going to be Kerberos losing his life first. Nalty's here trying to help on out, but it does not matter. 2 kills over to Diabolus, Nalty and Kerberos dead. It's just not working out for Wind and Rain. They are starting to collapse under the pressure.
I mean, that's the worst case scenario because we've often seen teams go for plays across the map when something happens bad, you know, top lane, for example, will go for a play bot lane. Instead, he tried to counter gank that and ends up dying as well. So huge trade goes over to Diabolus, and I think they're just going to be able to take this top tower.
Yeah,
massive advantage for next.
No teleports at all.
Yeah, so here's the play. Kerberos does his best to try and buy time. They try and put the damage onto NG, but very tanky. Procs that aftershock as well. Aggo switches over to Flaxius, and he walks out just enough HP to survive that last tower hit.
First turret blood does go over the way of Diabolus, a 3,000 gold lead at 9 minutes for them. You have to feel for Wind and Rain. It does feel like they don't have it in themselves to come back into this series. Flaxish on no HP, just jumping onto Kerberos, does not care. Here comes the ultimate, and NG's here as well. Kerberos has to run. No ultimate for this Sejuani, but the Chilling Smite, they're going to dive it. Flaxish just jumps on in.
Played.
It's so easy for them. They're just going to keep doing this to Kerberos over and over again.
I mean, it's one of those situations where you're like, wait, why is Flaxish overextended on such low HP? And I think a bit of Kerberos on the head, oh, I can kill him. And it's like, well, there's probably a good reason he's staying. It's probably because his jungler is waiting for you to go aggressive. And it's some aggressive punishment. I'm going to see some engaged bot.
It doesn't look good for Flat, but here comes the ultimate from the Fiddlesticks. Oh boy. Lots of damage on Amphrax. Here's Nalty and Crossman. They can turn this around. Fax may be dead, but Cookie, there's no way he can survive this. Does get locked up. They need to give this to Crossman. Surely they do. Wind and Rain do get 2 kills for 1 in the bot lane and a kill onto their mid laner, which is good start for them. But if you look at the mid lane, it's just Zeph pushing down the tower. Flaxish is roaming up as well. That tower's going to take so much damage.
They might find Crossman here.
Yeah, they're looking for it as well. Malzahar ult is up, and you don't want to channel it when a crocodile's on top of you. Seismic Shove puts him back, and that's it for Crossman. Flaxish picks up the kill. Currently 5-1-1 on this Renekton.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one who made that tweet earlier saying this would be an easy series. It's looking like it so far, I'll be honest. You're 5-1-1 on Renekton, and yes, Camille does outscale, but I don't think this game is going to last for 60 minutes. Definitely looking in Diabolus' favour here. Got a 3k gold lead.
Ulti may be even caught out in his own jungle as well. We've got Rakan, Amphrax roaming on up. The Sejuani ult is available. Here it goes, diving on in. Oh, great stuff. Instant death. Goes over to Nalty. Zeph picking up his 3rd kill of the game. Just too easy.
Yeah, so we'll see the play bot lane. Root does come down onto Fax, and then the ult Manthrax. Time bought by Kitsune. The CC is anonymous, so can get his ult off. And that actually manages to turn the trade round. I don't think he would have been able to take Kuki off on the back end solo, but fortunately he has some reinforcements. Easy pickup onto Kuki.
Yeah, Crossman gets that kill, but it just doesn't matter. Diabolus now pushing down. They got this the 2nd turret of the game. It is going to be bot lane tower falling. Nothing to say about that. And now they can put their attentions in towards the mid lane, try and break open this outer ring, have full control over the map. Not even looking towards the dragons. They don't need to. Don't really care when it's just a Cloud Drake available. Much rather push these macro advantages across the map like they've been doing.
I mean, it looks like Diabolus have gotten stronger with each game, and Wind and Rain is just slipping away to them. This early game is gone. I mean, this is much like the early game in the Misfits against Wind and Rain games we had. Oh, we are seeing a replay, and this is Crossman just wanted to get back to mid lane, didn't respect the potential for a crocodile to be there, and gets snapped up quite quickly.
Super simple. Nothing to say. Crossman trying to get some damage onto this mid lane tower. 4 members of Diabolus currently roaming straight through. course, Crossman's going to respect that and fall back. Surprising lack of interest over towards the Rift Herald. I'm sure that might be the next objective for NG.
Yeah, I think it is one you want to put in priority here. You see NG heading up towards it. And Anthrax, this is great, seeing the support roam with the jungler. And it just means if they find anyone, it's going to be at least a 2 against 1. And there's so much CC between them, they can keep them locked down for an age almost. And you can actually see they're bringing all 3. So much kill potential and lockdown from this trio. Anthrax and NG working really well together. Meanwhile, their carries, their Renekton, and their Zayed is able to pick up free farm.
I mean, look at this vision control coming out of Diabolus once more. If we turn off the red side vision, you can just see that Diabolus have complete vision control over literally every element of the map. Potentially a catch out here onto Zeph, but nope, he just flashes over the wall, can't even get a kill there. And now it's going to be Kerberos. Rinse and repeat, fails the hookshot over the wall, does flash on over, but there's the Sejuani. That's it, done and dusted. And it will be NG picking up the kill. With full vision control for Diabolus, they can continue making plays like this across the map, and there's literally zilch that Wind and Rain can do about it.
I mean, that's the thing, is that you know they just went for a play on Yotalia on the bot side. There wasn't too much threat, and they could tank the tower for as long as they want. Great patience from NG there with Yolt.
Oh no, Crossman may be called out as well. Not quite the engage, but the charm does come through. Crossman gets stunned up, and Flaxish finds his 6th.
Just stepped up when he wasn't able to, and it just feels like Wind and Rain have fallen apart in this game. They've lost 3 turrets already, mid's very low. It just feels like the life's been drained out of them by being smashed so far by Diabolus.
And it's so heartbreaking because in Game 1 and Game 2, it did look like Wind and Rain had Diabolus red. It just, they didn't have enough of, or they just didn't have it in them to break the backs of Diabolus, and now it does look like Wind and Rain's backs have been broken indeed.
I think so, and I think Diabolus did come into this series as the favourites, haven't had a harder route to the finals, a lot of people would argue. And I mean, this, I'm not going to say I expected 3-0, it would be nice for Wind and Rain to get a game, but maybe going the way of Diabolus is what we sort of anticipated. But the thing is, you know, this is the first of the qualifying tournaments, and I think there's a lot of hope for this Wind and Rain lineup if they do try and work on these mistakes. As for this game, I think you have to look for some plays with this Malzahar, with this Fiddle, before it gets too late. There's already a QSS on the Talia, so you're going to have to make something happen quick if you want to turn this game around.
Yeah, best of 5s can be difficult for your mentality. Looks like Wind and Rains have none. Zeph going to start up this Rift Herald here, getting it nice and early. 15 minutes on the clock. This mid lane tower still standing in that outer ring for Wind and Rain, but soon enough it will go down. The Rift Herald has anything to say about it. Currently, Wind and Rain looking for a desperate breath of life into this game. I mean, it can come. They have so much pick potential with a Jax, with a Malzahar, with a Camille as well, and then you have that Fiddlesticks, which obviously offers a little bit of threat, but if Diabolus keeps splitting Wind and Rain up like they're doing, taking out these 1v1 fights, 1v1s all across the map, and there's just nothing they can do. Flaxish flashes forward, he's dominating 7-1 and 2.
Yeah, he has the essence even now. I think he just kills Akasune as well.
Potentially. Nolty's trying to roam down to help his support. There's the flash coming out of the Fiddlesticks. I think he might just walk away from this one. Never mind. He's,
they actually get a shutdown on flashes. That's pretty huge. Bit of an overstep there.
You wouldn't want that to go to Fax.
Yeah, in return though, they do get the push on mid lane, get that mid tower. Got the Rift Tower to go for the, oh yeah, 2. Got the Rift Tower to go for the next one as well, so. I mean, yes, they got a shutdown on the Croc, but not sure if it was worth it overall. If you look at the build though, coming out from Flaxes, this is something new that's been done with the Essence Reaver changes. Once you get Black Cleaver, Essence Reaver, really short on cooldowns, a ton of AD, and the thing is, when you pop your ult, whenever you auto attack, which is obviously proccing your W gives you several auto attacks, the cooldowns cut down so much. You see there, he was able to dash about, pop his ability so many times. It's going to be so hard to deal with this Renekton here. Honestly, I think next, he should invest in a QSS, as that's the only real threat to him here, is the CC coming out from the Malzahar and the Fiddlesticks. I think once Flaxius gets a QSS, he's going to be absolutely unstoppable.
Yikes. Kerberos not quite able to stop the recall there from NG. We're at the 17-minute mark, and there's a huge, whopping 8,000 gold lead for Diabolus.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a huge amount of vision as well. When you're behind, you don't expect your vision to last long. Wind and Rain do have 2 control wards set up.
I think the only out really here for Wind and Rain is hope they throw a Baron, because I mean, we saw them do that game 1 against Misfits. It's not a great win condition because they've definitely upped their Baron discipline and control. But really, that's the only way I see it getting back in this game from this point. They are very far behind, and yep, Kerberos is overextended.
Once more caught out, looking to go 1 and 6 as Amphrax charms him up, knocks him up dead. Cookie hits up the kill.
And I mean, now so much burst from this Zai. We can see the Storm Razors and the Halo Blades. Just able to instantly get the first few auto attacks off. First one guaranteed crit. Extra attack speed for the first few means you can easily get those feathers. So,
they're diving in. That's a missed ultimate from NG.
Yeah, Mastery Mode gets spammed. Can respect it.
Flaxish is pushing the mid lane. The rest of the team are pushing up the bot side. Cookie has gone back just to pick up a couple items and has teleport in case things go south.
Yeah, and dominating performance so far from Diabolus. Next streak is going to be a Cloud. Don't think there's going to be too much priority put on that. The big thing that is coming up is you've just seen the timer pop up in the top left. The Baron in 2 minutes. That is the one route back in the game for Wind and Rain. It's a slim one, but if you get a good team fight off that, maybe.
Oh, it's going to be an ulti caught out, but it's Akasuni going in. Kerberos is here as well as Vax on the backside, but they're in trouble.
Oh my god,
ulti's going to fall. That's going to be a double kill for the Renekton, looking for more as Kerberos still in this fight. Amphrax with a heal. Oh my lord, it's another double kill coming through for Zeph. Only Crossman standing, who was not in the fight, and now Diabolus can push on into the base without any qualms.
I respect the attempt from Akasuni. Nice try. Didn't quite work out for you. I think that Crocodile's a bit too strong for you to handle, and it looks like they're going to take Crossman too.
I mean, what can I say? It's an ace for Diabolus at this 18:50 minute mark. That's going to be an inhibitor tower falling. I mean, it does. They got some Nutella and chip seed.
Yeah, oh god. Yeah, looks like they have a meal prepped up for them already. Maybe they are in the game house together. Maybe their chef has said, hey guys, dinner's ready, finish this one up quick. Because this is a very swift game, and we did talk about how Diabolus traditionally likes faster games. We saw that against Misfits. This is sort of going back to that sort of route. You can see their confidence is built up in the series, and they are honestly dominating at this point. And considering this is a finals, great performance from them already. Hopefully, for Wind and Rain, there might be a chance to come back in, but it's looking dire at 13k gold deficit. I mean, I feel like at this point, Flashes has picked up the QSS. I genuinely think he can just 1v5. I think he could take all 5 of them down with that Essence Reaver cooldown reduction.
Turns out it is a Mountain Drake, so that means that Diabolus will move immediately over and secure that just because...
I swear that thing at the top left always fault. Whatever, it's a Mountain Drake. It's going to help them even more. Oh, it has changed now. It's going to help them even more.
It was always a Mountain Drake. You just
for the Baron Nashor, which you have seen
spawn
in the bottom.
Oh my goodness. I mean, we've seen this before. Oh, good flash.
He gets out.
He got out, but can he get out further? Nulti laying down the troubles. NG just spamming
so
that
tanky.
mastery of mode.
I think he dies,
locked him up. He does die as this Baron spawns. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, do I think that's enough to win the game for Wind and Rain? Probably not, but it's something. Oh, this is a fight that happened before. So you see, Nulti is the bait. He walks in like, hey guys, what's going on here? Akatsune's waiting in the wings, channels the full ult, and it does very little damage. Flaxius then comes in, one hits Nulti, proceeds to murder Akatsune, and then off the backside, Flaxius gets bullied by the Sejuani and the Rakan. Camille does make an attempt to clean up Anthrax, but it just appears he isn't dying today, and he will die as well. Mountain Drake picked up for Diabolus.
No jungler, no problem. No way Nulti's going to go in to contest it whatsoever. I mean, quick recap, Kerberos potentially in trouble, trying to get over the wall, but he can't. That's the Hex Tech ultimatum laid down. Zeph taking a bit of damage, but not enough to die. Let's look around the map. I mean, you have...
I mean, something to talk about. Just
Flaxish died as well. Yeah, let's have a look at this. Replay coming up of Flaxish going down.
Oh, but this is actually big, because Flaxish has a lot of gold on him. Obviously, he's in the best scaling champion, but let's see how he... Oh, so he did actually go in towards this side. Oh, I thought he was trying to test the 1v5 theory. Yeah, it looks like this is where the one strength of Camille still is the ult can lock someone down, and it looks like 4 members is enough. I think he QSS'd the stun from Nulti a bit too early, so wasn't able to clean the Malzahar ult. So I guess we learned he can't 1v5. Couldn't even 1v4. Embarrassing.
Embarrassing to the ex-EULCS Flaxish.
Right. Fax has a dick.
I mean, I don't care about that. Baron's starting up. There's a ward, and they are going to get spotted here. All right, tell me about Dirks and...
I'm curious as to what, because normally you build a Black Cleaver.
Oh, Zeph's caught out here. This is actually huge. There's the Malzahar. It's going to be cleansed. A lot of damage. Nulti able to take it out. Are Diabolus throwing this game? Question mark?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're making a couple of mistakes, but they're confident. They're already 2-0 up, and they are so far ahead. Yes, it looks a bit messy from their side, but they know how they have to win out this game. They start to put some pressure on Baron. One big mistake, though, and I think that's bigger than all the deaths they've put. That pink ward in the pit isn't actually close enough to reach the back of the Baron pit. So they aren't aware there's a ward in that pit, and they think it's clear. So that's why they started up the Baron, and that's why they were called out on it and had to back off.
That means that Diabolus' stats of 24.5-minute games potentially going to be broken here on such a one-sided affair here. We have a huge 12,000 gold lead for the side of Diabolus, and it is just a matter of formality, you would think, for them. Of course, if they do continue getting called out here and losing one man and another man, then you are giving that comeback gold, shutdown gold over to Wind and Rain, who do want to try and get some items into their inventories.
I have my answer for what Fax is building. An Edge of Night. I really can't work out why that's what he's decided to go for, but apparently he's content with it. I guess it gives him a bit of burst.
Oh, fight breaking out.
He's
in the middle of it. Crossman coming on in. There's the ultimate. A good kill onto Anthrax, but can they do anything with it? Tetuani ult shuts on down. It's 2 over to Diabolus. 2 kills over to NG. Looking for more as Kerberos finds up Cookie, but it's another going over to Diabolus. Back and forth fight. It's a 2 for 4, a 3 in the end. I mean, that's about as good as it gets for Wind and Rain.
Absolutely. I mean, I was about to get hyped. I thought, wow, they took down Anthrax, they took down Cookie, and then Flax just turned up and just murdered everyone. So we're going to see the replay here. Nulty decides to jump over on Cookie. Caught better unawares, lands a stun instantly. Follow-up comes in, and you can see Anthrax goes aggressive, but gets CC locked down and burst through. Cookie off the back end, burst out by Kerberos as well. That's when Flax just turns up the back end, instantly kills 2 members. Cleans up Crossman as well off the back end. Yes, Kerberos flashes away, but I don't think he's too bothered. This Crocodile is just too strong, and we talked about how he will scale off in the late game. That doesn't really happen when he's like 86k gold ahead of the Camille.
I mean, he's almost about to flame Horizon Kerberos at this point. Another fight breaking out on the red side jungle. This time it's going to be Kerberos locked down. Akasuni does go forward. There's the silencers coming through, but there's no one to follow up. 1 kill, 2. Cookie and Flattish picking them up. Now they can continue looking to pressure. Huge minion waves crashing on in the top side and on the bot side as well. They want to continue pushing forward. Maybe they just don't. They're looking like they might want to go for the end here, potentially.
I think Kerberos have to go there, because, I mean, there was no reason to dash in there. I think he just wants the game over swiftly. It looks like Diabolus are going to make the push for the end. 3 members up. Can they defend?
Well, let's see. Crossman going on to Flatstitch. QSF comes out. They're jumping onto Nulty. NG on the front line. Nulty falling. Cookie picks up the kill. And there's still time for Wind and Rain, because with 5 seconds, Kerberos and Akasuni will join us, and Diabolus aren't too interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking very dire here. They've taken out the bottom, well, not the bottom, the mid inhib, and they are heading towards Baron with the pressure that provides. It looks like it'll be a clean take here. Nulty's not even alive to contest it, so... I mean, maybe Akasune could ult over the wall, get a pentakill.
They're coming for it. They're looking to try and fight around the Baron, but it's going down so quickly. I mean, we can't see the number on the HP, but you can see it there. It is almost dead. There it is. Kerberos jumps on over. He's going to 1v5 or die, one of the two. And now it is just going to be Diabolus back porting to base with their Baron enhanced recalls. Get their last item buys, and now it's time to push into Wind and Rain's base, put them out of their misery.
3 and 10 from Kerberos. You love to see it. What a player. Had a bit of an oopsie daisy on this one, and is going to be dead for the 20 seconds. Looks like Diabolus are going to try and push up and end off this Baron, and it's unlikely to see how Wind and Rain will stop them, particularly with Fax, who has gone for some sort of Assassin Lucian build. I'm not really sure. Maybe he'll be able to tell about us some other time.
I'm sure we'll get a tweet about it.
I mean, maybe he's going to flash in and he'll be able to burst someone out. That's the saving grace of the composition.
Hello, Nulty.
Oh, nice initial getaway. Oh, the ult comes in from the fiddle.
Fiddlestick's going in, but it's going to be Fax caught out on the backside. Akasuni in the middle of the fight, Nulty going low. Cookie survives, and now they're turning onto Crossmen and Fax, who both flash away from the fight, but NG's happy to follow on up. Flaxish coming forward, looking for this. The stun comes through. Crossman will die. And now Cookie is on a rampage as Fax will fall very shortly, you would think, to the Crocodile, who QSS's that Fiddlesticks and picks up 2 kills for himself. Only Kerberos left alive. A chance to make it 3-11-1 for him if he wants to, but he's just happy to farm up mid lane. Diabolus have done it in convincing fashion. A 3-0 victory wins them the first of this scoring tournaments.
Congratulations to, well, yeah, the first winners of a scoring tournament. Diabolus dominating performance throughout that series. And honestly, the only real challenge to them was Misfits yesterday. Didn't drop a single game today.
That was a very, very Diabolus, honestly. I'm going to phrase it. That was a stomp. There was no contest. It didn't even look close. It looked like they were playing a solo queue game for most part. Honestly, I mean, you said Kerberos don't in. He probably did exactly the opposite. I guess he
wasn't listening.
Did not have a go. But let's not take away from the fact that Diabolus very convincingly have won the first of our Forge of Champion tournaments. They have taken the total of 2,200 points and I believe 1,800, 1,900 pounds.
1,800.
I was right the first time. 1,800 pounds. So they're going to have that to split between their roster. And remember, they get that opportunity every single time there is a tournament. They've also put themselves in the best position to A, take that first EU Masters spot, and B, qualify for our top 8 position going forward after the 4 tournaments.
And I think this is such a huge thing for the organization, because last split, by coming 5th, they got knocked out by Enclave. That actually knocked them out of any of the spots for the EU Masters. And I know how much it meant to the org. They missed out on that. Now they've put themselves in the pole position to get the most points and secure an EU Masters spot. So I know that's huge, and it's a bit of a redemption thing. Coming first in the first qualifying tournament, it's got to feel great.
Absolutely, and Diabolus as well. It's good to see investment rewarded with results, because exactly like XL, who invested in a gaming house, put a lot of effort into coaching staff and behind the scenes. XL were rewarded last Premiership with the wins that they got over the course of a couple of Premierships or whatever. We saw had some good results. You did well as well before the gaming house, I guess. They also did really well in the EU Masters, and obviously Diabolus doing the same kind of thing up in Manchester. Great to see them, who have invested in a gaming house up there, and they've got results already from it.
I mean, that's a really important fact, is that Diabolus have now got their results, but you've thrown it back at XL now. They went out in the quarterfinals. Misfits Academy lost to Diabolus in the semifinals. 2 excellent teams, 2 teams you would expect to do well during the regular season and during playoff stages. They're going to have to step up their game when we do get into the second scoring tournament next week, because they just didn't really have anything here. I mean, XL falling to M&M a shock. Diabolus taking over Misfits like it was easy. What are they going to do?
I think they will show life in the next ones, and I don't think Diabolus can rest their laurels. They've had a great performance in this tournament, but we've got to see what will happen in the next few. Yeah,
and obviously this is just, honestly, you could pick any replay from this game, it will have the same result. This was just out and out stomping, and honestly,
I think just watch Flaxius in this fight. Like, he comes in, instantly just bursts through Nulty, and Nulty's quite tanky. That EQ damage on Akatuni, he nearly one-hits him. This Crocodile was so strong. He must have had so much fun playing this game.
And on the backside of that is Zeph and NG just taking care of business. Fax gets called out due to the Talia war. Nowhere to go. Hasn't been able to have any real impact in any team fights throughout this series. I think Fax will be fairly disappointed with how this series went. Kerberos, of course, you've kind of hard-flamed him a little bit. But, I mean, Fax is the one who has something to prove. He wants to be one of the top UK AD carries. He didn't quite perform as well as he wanted to last time he was in the Premiership. Went on his break, he's back again, and I mean, in this final specifically, he didn't show up.
I think as well, we've seen 3 games where Diabolus played the same game plan pretty much the entire time.
I mean, game 1 was different.
Yeah, I mean, every single time that we've seen Flaxish get some kind of investment into him, and it's resulted in some kind of team-wide map advantage. I think every single lane really had their advantages in their own way. I think there was a little bit about jungling going on. I don't think Anulti really was at that level that we kind of expected him to be from his performance yesterday. And I think overall this is just a very solid and deserved win for Diabolus.
I love the fact that Flaxish in Game 1 and Game 2 played tank champions, Ornn and Mundo, and he did really well. In Game 1 he didn't need any priority from his team because he just was able to beat out Camille in the early game. But then in Game 3, he's like, hey, I'm Flaxish. I mean, I want to play a carry champion. Pops the Renekton, goes 11 I think he goes 13-1 and something ridiculous, had just a huge performance. That's a top laner that you have to be scared of. If he's going to win his lane as a tank, if he's going to win his lane as a carry champion, you really have to try and shut him down. I
think that might have been the issue though. It's that Kairos went into this sort of, I mean, you saw he voted against himself in the thing, and I think you have to go in with confidence. Don't think this is Flaxius I'm against who's being the LCS. Think it's someone I can beat. I mean, yes, he did look very dominating in this game, and we'll see another team fight here where he just starts to absolutely murder anyone. Kairos, yeah, a bit of an XD to go in on that one. But I think it was just, a lot of the times, yes, we saw Flaxius dump on Kairos, but he went into this with the mentality of, I'm going to lose lane, and I think that's a bad mindset to have.
And Kerberos is a player who is not known for going into matchups to lose lane. Like Kerberos, often when he picks things like Urgot wins lane pretty hard, you know, in a lot of ways. And so it's just, I think he played maybe a bit too scared, and that's something that has often been criticised a lot of teams playing against the likes of SKT. Like, they go in thinking they're going to lose, so they play a different way to the way they usually play, and it felt like that was a little bit of the way that we saw Wind and Rain approach this particular game. And if you remember that tweet that Flaxius put out yesterday, it's going to be easy finals for us.
He came into it confident.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Exactly.
He came in, he picked confidently. He didn't even feel like, oh, I need a carry to deal with Kerberos. He didn't feel like he had to ban too much away from him. He was confident every single matchup throughout it. And I think that's the thing, is that DIABOLUS came into this tournament as a whole confident, and they haven't been massively challenged. Misfits were the only one who were close, but honestly, it's close in score, wasn't too close in the games. And yes, in the future tournaments, we have 3 more qualifying tournaments. We also have the grand finals. There's lots of chances for teams to catch up, but they really need to put their work in if they want to challenge this team who are right now at the top.
Well, if you are out there, teams, and you want to review the VODs of these games before next week when we get to our next scoring tournament, you can go to YouTube, LVP and Space UK, and you will find all of the VODs there. So if that's where you need to review and check out and try and find out the way to beat DIABOLUS, all of these VODs will be available on the YouTube. Remember to go and follow all of the socials as well. At LVP UK, you can follow DowsyGG, you can follow Orcs and
Orcslol,
_lol,
yeah.
And I guess you can follow me, I'm a Scoundrel. And also, make sure that you go and register for the next tournament. I'm going to have a quick look at the bracket before we move on, though, because obviously we want to celebrate the total victory here of DIABOLUS. They did move all the way through that bracket we had for the scoring tournament and did really, really well. They beat out some, like you said, some very tough opposition to get here.
Yeah, particularly like Misfits, who, I mean, people had discussions over whether XL or Misfits would be the favourite, and we see both of them actually getting knocked out here. Now, even at the semi, well, actually Misfits got knocked at the semi-finals, XL at the quarter-finals round, so these teams not really performing up to the standard. DIABOLUS took one of them down, but it'll be interesting to see how the seeding goes next week and whether they'll end up matching up against XL.
Right, because next week we'll have our open bracket, which starts tomorrow. Anyone who wants to sign up for that can go and do that now. And then those 8 teams will come through to face these Premiership teams who are standard. They will be reseeded based on this week's results, based on the points that they got in this scoring tournament, which means that, yes, you're not going to go up against Misfits if you're the first seeded open bracket team. Now you're going up against DIABOLUS. So it gets harder and harder as the Premiership teams get kind of revalued, but also potentially the ones that didn't do so well, maybe they have better matchups in their quarterfinals, who knows.
So speaking of that next tournament, you can go to forgeofchampions.com and register now. Obviously, that tournament begins tomorrow, so you haven't got very much time to do that. Go up there. If you've got a team that you've played with in solo queue, or you just are a solo player and want to find a team, you can go to forgeofchampions.com and register. Make sure you do it quickly, though, because tomorrow is when the next open bracket begins, and then by next Wednesday, we'll have the start of the next tournament.
Yeah, going to be exciting stuff.
Let's have a look at the leaderboard, because
let's have a look at the leaderboard.
Everyone gets points based on their position. So as you can see there, DIABOLUS up there at first with 2,200 points. Wind and Rain comes second with 1,600. Next tournament, winner gets 3,300 points. Second place gets 2,400 points, which is more than you got for winning the first one. And it keeps going that way, that second place is more than the previous winner. So it becomes even more important as the season goes on that you continuously are leveling up your game, that you're playing consistently. And for these open bracket teams, more and more chances, because if you come 9th to 16th, you get 1,000. If you come 5th to 8th, you get 1,750 in the last scoring tournaments. And so you just want to keep playing good.
So obviously this is a great advantage for DIABOLUS to have those amount of points on board, but remember the points value goes up, like Dowsy said. So this is just the first. Each tournament gains traction in terms of what it's worth. And by the final tournament, you're getting 5,500, I think, or something along those lines for a win. So you get pretty much over double what you could have won at this first tournament. We do have a small announcement, though. There was a team, Newcastle Jaguars, they have been docked their points for this particular tournament. Unfortunately, there was an incident of account sharing there. We're not going to go into too much detail about it, but just needed to feed that info back if anyone was following their particular progress. Again, not going to be disqualified for competing. They can come back and compete again, but for this particular tournament, they're not going to pick up the points that they were owed.
Yeah, 16. I believe they came 16 to 9, so we didn't see them on the leaderboard there. Well, I mean, we wouldn't have anyway because I have no points, but they received the lowest amount of points any team did. Well, the same as the other 16 to 9 play team, but they won't receive any as a result of their infraction.
Yes, anyway, so if you guys have enjoyed this, make sure, again, you tweet at LVPUK and hashtag Forge of Champions 1. When we go to next week, I believe it'll be Forge of Champions 2, so don't forget that we're changing to our second scoring tournament next week, and obviously loads and loads of cool action to come. We could have some new open tournament entries. Obviously, we don't know how strong you guys are in the open bracket, and when you come into this scoring tournament, you could provide some upsets. We're going to have the same 8 previous Premiership teams. I see Orcs smiling a little bit.
I'm not casting next week, so you know.
Oh, Orcs might sign up.
No,
he might.
I'm retired, relatively retired. Could do though.
But obviously, if you have enjoyed, make sure you follow all of the socials and get ready for the next scoring tournament of Forge of Champions. From myself, Excoundrel, Orcs, and Dowsey, thank you very much for watching. It has been a pleasure bringing you all the action, and we'll see you next time.